from the UK, broadcasting around the world. You're listening to the Mic Drop Club, hosted by Douglas Hammondishe. Message received. You do not need to know what you need. Just engage with the podcast feed. Providing weekly insights into cool stuff we've read, saw, did, or heard about what made us say, wow, eureka, damn, nothing is off limits. If it motivates and inspires you to reach your goals, then it shall be discussed. Featuring guest interviews from high performers and people of influence, and weekly awards for the best mic drop moment. This podcast is guaranteed to leave you pumped up for the week ahead. Don't just live life. Make life boom.
Hi guys, doing out there? It's Douglas Hammondishe for another episode of the Mic Drop Club. Now, I'm super happy to be doing this session. It's been quite a while, in fact, and I'm rather sad to do it in this fashion, but it's so important. So I have to welcome back. He's been doing his own thing on his own platform for a little bit. My co-host, Jingle, he's in the background waiting to drop some content regarding this issue that needs to be addressed. We're here to honor, celebrate the life of the legendary rapper DMX, and also talk to you guys about all the things related to addictions and how we can better support each other and other people who are going through that same sort of crisis. So no further ado, let's bring in Jingo to the mix. Jingo, what's up? How you doing?
I'm good, my brother. I'm good, uncle.
And you're looking clear as well.
For the first time. For the first time in many times, you know, investing is a beautiful thing. Investing in yourself is a beautiful thing.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. So how's the week been?
Week has been, man, it went like a blur. To be honest with you, I can't really remember anything. But what I will say is the thing that I can remember right now from the week, and I took from the week is the death of DMX, legendary rapper DMX, and you know, he meant a lot for, you know, I would say, you know, your generation too. He's part of your generation too. You know, he came out in 1998. So
I like the way you say your generation. Yeah, growing up with hip hop, DMX blew up in the late 90s, isn't it, into the 2000s. So that whole the beat sequences that he was using, his delivery with Swiss beats on a lot of the productions, you know, heavy hitting beats, and that raspy voice motivated me. It got me through a lot of dark times in my life. So DMX was one of the founding members of Rough Riders. As you know, he was like the talisman of the whole crew, really. His voice really carried everything.
He was frontline. Yeah.
Most definitely. And he was one of the first rappers to really put his heart on the sleeves in relation to his connection with spirituality and God. So, and also still make that relevant in around the music for the streets as well. So big up to DMX for doing all that kind of stuff. And this is all about the tragedy and the celebration of such a great artist. Not only was his pen lethal, his freestyle was off the chain. Off the chain. Anyone that has heard DMX speak, you know, that style of delivery where he's talking and he's almost finessing the poetry at the same time. You know, his voice has variation. It was never one tone, up and down, no matter what he was saying. So as a fan of hip hop, DMX, and obviously when I was going to gym, when I was working out, even to this very day, you know, when I work out, they'll always have a DMX track. Typically, my DMX tracks are, number one has to be the Rough Riders anthem. You know, and X gonna give it to you. So when I'm bench pressing and I hear that and I hear his vocal, it's like it goes straight into my bones and it rattles me. So no matter what the plates are doing, those plates are getting lifted. They're getting shifted. He had the voice that was motivating you. You were compelled to do something. You could never. I remember a time where I didn't get a job. I went for a job interview, and foolishly, as I was driving, I was listening to I think DMX's first album. Yeah, it was DMX's first album. Dark. It was Dark and Hell is Hot, right? I was listening to that.
Dark and Hell is Hot, yeah.
Yeah. So normally when I'm driving towards a meeting or an interview of such, I have something more calm but for some reason I had DMX played. And I remember arriving there so amped up, so pumped up that I knew I had pressure of speech. And pressure of speech is like when you talk very, very fast. Yeah, I was very animated with my hands, but that was the effect DMX was having on me at that time. So it has inspired me many times, and obviously for this job interview, I flunked it because I was so not in my normal calm, reflective state of mind. But it's all good. It's all good because again, everything has a purpose, and that job, in all honesty, I didn't need that job anyway. There were better opportunities that came my way. But we just want to pay homage. This is a guy that DMX, Earl Simmons, who died at the age of 50. 50 is still young. He's still youthful. He still had that voice. The voice was not croaky at all. That shows a sign of age. But he, not only for his talents as a rapper, actor as well, he was somebody that I would say lived out his addiction in the public eye.
And may I elaborate on that?
Go ahead. It's for you.
I remember one person said, I don't know where I think where I read this last night. One person said that there was a time in the 90s when Tupac died. Most rappers were not really authentic, with expressing what is really going on in their life. Everybody was. DMS came in the era of the bling bling. You know what I'm saying? The YMCMB, you know what I'm saying? The Young Money, bling bling, Lil Wayne. Everybody was just wearing bling bling. Everybody was just talking about, the money and all that stuff there. And literally, DMX literally filled that gap of that real hip hop rap. People can feel, you know what I'm saying? People can really take from and really use it in their lives in a sense, innit? Because everything else was just materialistic. But,
the message, the message was powerful, and the delivery made it ever more potent. It was almost like spoken word with a beat. And then once listen to spoken word, those words are crafted in such a way that you're compelled to do something. It does shake you to the core. But he had that delivery, similar to James Brown. I would say he had the James Brown type of flow in terms of the raw emotion, but he was more more legible. You could actually hear what he was saying.
Yeah.
With James Brown, you could just know this guy. You just know he's saying something powerful, but you don't quite get it straight away. But DMX, you heard every word. It was crystal clear. There was no what's he saying? You know what he's saying. So him, and there's another rapper that unfortunately had to go to prison for some misdemeanors, some serious crimes. In fact, that was Mystical. He had that James Brown type voice as well. But again, the content is completely different between DMX and Mystical. The content, delivery, and the style, the beats. I'm more a New York fan of rap anyway. So that there was something that I really gravitated to. But as we were saying before, living out your life in media, particularly when you got an addiction, cannot be an easy thing. Do you think?
Yeah, it's pressure. I mean, you got like 100 million people just watching you every day. Like, you know what I'm saying? When there's a saying, there's pressure when you have a gift in the public eye. Pressure. There are certain opinions about you. People that don't, you know what I'm saying, that just really throw at you and etc. like that. But I feel as though, obviously DMX is human, man. DMX is human, but right now, cause he died right now, but before this, people thought he handled it well. Obviously, we know that he went through addiction, all that stuff there, but we always knew that he was strong. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
But that misconception of that, you know what I'm saying, people have on people like artists. You know what I'm saying? We need to stop that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like people need to rearrange their mind when it comes to that, because they're human just like us. You know what I'm saying? Because when the tributes were flowing in and all that stuff there, all I could hear is, shake back. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you're fire. Come on, get obviously we get it. Obviously, it's tributes. But if we have that concept, obviously that perception of a person for many years and etc like that, and not knowing that he's also human. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely. And you cannot talk about addictions without first of all debunking, demystifying what addiction is. And for anybody that's listening and thinks that addictions are things to be ashamed of or are things that are only relating to drugs and alcohol, you are wrong. There are many things that we as human beings are addicted to. Okay, the issue always boils down to: is it affecting your ability to live your life to your fullest potential? Is it impacting the lives of other people in a negative way? Okay, but we all have addictions, from caffeine to cannabis use, smoking, to sex, to overworking. You know, these are all addictions that you're doing. These are things that you are doing to escape something that you are feeling or experiencing in your life. And DMX's background was such that he was in care. This is a guy that came through the care system. He went through foster care. So he understood rejection. On top of the poverty that you are experiencing, being brought up in that sort of environment. So to be rejected by your parents is not something that anyone can look down upon in terms of how you would respond. Because unless you walk that walk yourself, and being betrayed by people that are responsible for your care, you cannot then say to somebody, you know how you would respond in that situation. You know, so I look at this as, you know, when we start talking about legacy, you know, DMX is a survivor. He has survived 50 years, opposed to him being perceived as, oh, you succumbed to drug addiction. You know, he was surviving. Addictions, these are coping strategies. And what we can say is, maybe in hindsight, there are safer alternative coping strategies, right? If you're able to access them, if they are tailor-made to yourself, yeah, meaning you understand the process. There's no point in going through a coping strategy that you cannot actually do. Yeah. Not every day your therapist is waiting for you on the phone, you know, at 2 o'clock in the morning, and you get that dark thought that you need something. Therapist might not be there until 9 o'clock in the morning. What are you going to do? Who is around you? And let's be honest, the music.
Let's talk about that. You know, the surrounding of DMX.
Yeah, your surroundings can enable you to thrive, or literally dissolve. It could do either or. And in the ghetto situation, in the poverty situation, this is before he blew up as a rapper, and even during, because just because somebody's a signed artist selling millions of copies, it doesn't mean they are rich in the terms of having enough money to live independently. Okay, you're still a modern day slave for the label. You see what I mean?
For sure.
Forget the trappings that you see around you. You know, look at the title deeds for some of the things, like the masters. You produce all of these great content. Who owns your masters?
Who owns the masters?
You're in a bigger house. Who owns the house? You have a chain on your neck. You know, is that bought with your advance? So your next sales have to be first used to pay back some of those advance payments that you've done. Yeah. So it's the pressure. And obviously knowing that you in the music industry, you'll be let down. And DMX was very candid. He was let down by many artists, many chief executives for labels. He's gone through that, as many other rappers have gone through that as well, and are still going through that. The difference is this: when you already have an addiction, that is exacerbating that situation. You know, exacerbating that, particularly if you're creative and you want to express yourself, and knowing that, okay, fine, if I want to express myself as an outlet to cope with my pain, I can't do it anymore as such, because my label is controlling the vehicle of which I use to express myself. Yeah. You know, can you imagine if somebody says to you, I only feel free when I'm on the stage performing. And many artists say that. Yeah, a lot of artists are very shy, introverted, but they will say to you, but when I'm on stage in front of screaming fans, that's the time I'm most happiest. Right.
That is therapy to them. In a way, that is therapy. But to really elaborate on that, it's artificial therapy. It never does the work. It never really does the work.
It depends. It depends. It's an individual thing. But if somebody's using therapy to cope, and life is about coping, yeah. If someone else is controlling when you have access to your fans, for example, you're a signed artist, and say you only feel free and you're using this as a coping strategy and all that kind of stuff. But for you to perform on the stage, your label has to first agree a venue.
Okay.
Has to sell tickets. You have to produce product. You saw me. There's so many opportunities for failure along that line. So when you're in your dark moment, when you need something, it's not there. You don't have access to it. So therefore, you can then reach for something else to replace that feeling. You know, I've spoken to many artists, and this is something that always comes up. Unless you're an artist, you wouldn't know what that process of creation is and what it does for you. Some people are not artists; they are sports people. But you speak to somebody that's a competition athlete, they will still tell you in that moment when you are at one with your exercise or your training or you're in competition, you also do feel free. You know, so no matter what, depending on what you're going through in life, what I'm trying to express here is the avenues that DMX had. And he grew up in an environment whereby some of his foster carers were faith-based. DMX is known to be able to read and recite the Bible back and forth. So that's not the issue as such, because he knows the word. The issue is this, as you were saying, Jingo, and I don't want you to talk about it more, about the environment, how your environment
shit, like Bad Company Cross Good Character issue. Like, do you have yes men? Do you or do you have people like? Because the thing is here, if you just have yes men around you, there is no growth, and the issues that which are the root problems that you in your life, it won't be solved. Let me just elaborate in terms of, obviously, like, you know, you really define in terms of, I feel like there's many ways of therapy in it, do you understand? But the question is, which one is more beneficial? Do you get what I'm gonna say? Now, when DMX used to go, I'm just saying, let's not really put it that, because that's a whole legend, and, you know, let him rest in peace. But let's just say an example as an artist, right? Like you said, many artists say that they feel free when they are on stage. Now, let's like, the reason I said that's an artificial therapy, you know, session going on is because when they get off the stage, they need to face the reality of their problems. So it's just like it's like a boosting. What I don't know what you say. It's like a boosting mechanism. I don't know what really call it. It's like an antidote. It's like you know, it's like an antidote that just helps for a good 50 seconds, and no 56. Sorry, not 50 seconds, but let's say like the show is an hour. Just have for an hour, but they have the reality hits back. So that's why I'm trying to say that, you know, like DMX, right? From the time he was young, like at the end of the day, there was root issues that he had to deal with. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying at the end of the day, it's the person's responsibility at the end of the day. Do you understand? You can push them to an extent. Okay, go therapy, go this, and go and do that. Do you understand? But I don't really, you know, think that, you know, like I said, like we just elaborated on, it's like he had a good structure of people around him to really motivate him. Because I feel like, you know, he made all this money. And obviously DMX is a character himself. Bro was a gangster. So you can't really tell him anything like that and like that. You understand? So I guess maybe people were scared to really tell him about really and truly in terms of how they really feel. Like, yo, bro, like you gotta take this seriously, bro. You know what I'm saying? Or else something bad will happen to you. You understand? We don't know. We don't know if
we don't know the details, but certainly what you're saying, I can totally understand that viewpoint, because the environment around a lot of hip hop music, hip hop artists, is one of sex, drugs, rock and roll. That is a lifestyle. You're living that bling lifestyle. So no matter how you try to be a light and be positive, when you got your crew because it's a code of the streets that still prevails in the hip hop. You come up with your clique, you come up with your boys, okay? Your girls, you come up with your clique, you come up together. And if they live in a lifestyle where it's strip clubs, it's groupies everywhere you're going, free flowing access to drugs and alcohol, okay? That is the environment that is very, very difficult for you to maintain your own sanity, let alone if you already have a predisposed weakness to drugs. It's like if you got a natural addiction, if you've got addictive personality, I know I have addictive personality. I know I cannot put myself in certain environments because I know that temptation, if I was to go there, I would be hooked. So what I do with my personality, because I've grown understanding it, I'll make sure if I got addictions, I try and make them safer addictions. So when I really start working, I'll really work. And my partner, she's there to keep me back and rein me and say, no, that's enough. You need to go to bed, blah, blah, blah. And this goes back to what you're saying in terms of having support. But you got to know yourself. So people who have addictions, these people should not be vilified. It's a tragedy. And then you got to look at the responsibility of your label, because at the end of the day, you're a paid employee. Okay, so it's incumbent on your employer to ensure that your work environment is also safe. Okay, you have all these artists complaining about being not taken for granted, exploited by the music industry, isn't it? You know, thinking they're making millions, right? But their bank account does not reflect the amount of sales they have brought to the label. Yeah, you see that all the time. Yeah, and I think the time has come. And certainly when I was 10 years ago, even 15 years ago, they were talking about creating unions for musicians. Yeah. You know, we do know, I think 5-6 years ago, the Actors Union shut down Hollywood because actors have a union. And they were complaining about the rights and all that kind of stuff.
NBA, the NBA, even the NBA has a union.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there need to be a union for artists. And I think
Master
that way,
Master P mentioned that. Master P in one of his
okay, cool.
Because we need a union. Obviously in the hip hop world, even Funk Master Flex. Majority of the time, I don't even agree with his opinions, but he was very right in a sense that, you know, the same thing you said. Like he said, you lot failed DMX. The music industry, the hip hop industry failed DMX.
Yeah, it's a tough one to call because I think that it certainly contributed to a greater.
No, it's definitely contributed. I'm just telling you what.
I'm totally with it. To a greater or less degree, it's exposure. You know, and you said something about responsibility at the end of the day. Even if you have addiction, at some level, you have responsibility for some of the decisions you made. The trauma that DMX has gone through was already there before he was an artist.
Of course.
You see, so the therapy for him to overcome and to come to terms and rebuild his life was never there. He just had a phenomenal talent that enabled him to have access to drugs, access to a lifestyle that didn't support him in a healthy way. So all the people around him, if he was in sports, it might be sports people, but he happened to be in hip hop and acting, but particularly the hip hop world.
And it's a very aggressive. It's a very aggressive industry. Let's be real. It's a very aggressive industry. You don't show emotion. You don't do nothing. But I feel like, you know, I think because a lot of artists, hip hop artists, that died of drug overdose and all that stuff there. I don't know a lot on top of my head and etc. like that. Pimp C and all that stuff there. It's like, you know, they didn't really show emotion like DMX. DMX showed enough emotion for us to be like, you know what, let's grab this brother by the hand and let's really help him.
When I was listening to DMX, I wasn't thinking he needed help as such. Not in those days. When Rough Riders Anthem, I was thinking that guy needs help. I was thinking this guy's here to help me.
I feel like you can elaborate onto that because obviously, like you was.
That's why I feel, because I'm consuming the music. You have to be of certain disposition to go into a recording studio, recite lyrics, to you lay down your verses, promote the material, do video. I was a consumer of music, and I still am today. So I didn't understand it until word came out that, okay, this DMX has a drug addiction. Okay, a lot of these rappers have a drug addiction. A lot of these
And how
rappers
many
come
years
from a
that? How many
household.
years? You know, when you were consuming, like obviously, like when you came out in '98, and you was like, oh, he's a dope rapper, and then you found out what? How many years?
Because
After that?
no, it was like literally within 2-3 years after he probably 2001. Yeah,
Oh,
but it's for me that's never the issue because a lot of rappers come out from that cloth. Either they're the byproduct of a relationship where one of their parents sold drugs or used drugs. Yeah, this is a common theme. So when you say when I found out DMX has a drug problem, that's no different. Rappers are talking about selling drugs. Rappers are talking about using drugs all the time. Do you see what I mean? So it's just to what degree has it gone to old dirty bastard, rest his soul as well. He took a drug overdose. He was one of my favorite rappers. Okay, and he came out with a style that's completely unhinged, unorthodox, Grammy nominated, supremely talented. He was like the Rick James of rap. Rick James, Elvis, all that mixed into one with Shaolin. His technique of rapping was, for me, as to this very day, unsurpassed. It's phenomenal talent, but he had a drug addiction. So part of that culture of the music, and we talked about being real, is because rappers the perception of being real is to reflect the environment that you're being in. That's why drugs are always spoken about. It's always spoken about. Violence is always spoken about. They're coming from violence. So growing up, for me to understand what our brothers and sisters were going through in the States, it was listening to hip hop music. If I want to really know the pulse, the temperature, it is on the streets, in any of those places. I knew when I went to the States for the first time at age 23, I already knew some of the States, street names, and what to expect from there because I had
where you don't go, where you should go.
I already had all of that knowledge through the lyrics because they're that transparent. But getting back to addictions and what can you do then if you have an addiction? The first thing is obviously you need to go and get therapy. You need to first accept therapy. And one of the first premises that, and DMX has taken himself into therapy several times. It's not like he hasn't reached out for help. He has gone himself voluntarily. He's been responsible enough to go for therapy. Now, just because you've gone for therapy doesn't mean it's going to work the first time.
Consistency is everything.
It doesn't mean it's going to work the second time. Yeah?
Right.
You just got to keep at it. Take every day as it comes when it comes to these addictions. But if anybody is listening,
with people that encourage you in the whole process, with people that are very strong-minded, that can tell you
Yeah, and remember, the industry does not support people that are going through drug addictions because they might actually need you in that state so that they can fleece you for your money. So you cannot see how they're taking you for a sucker.
Right.
You see what I mean? It's actually better. Yeah, give him a bag of weed. He's quiet. Give him all the cocaine he needs. He's fine. Give her all that. They'll watch you destroy yourself and collect your loot. Okay, so with DMX, for me, this is heartbreaking, to be honest. But his music lives on. His lyrics are powerful. This is a guy that was beyond his time in terms of his delivery, and that delivery is so unique. I've not heard anybody come out like that since, because you can't. That's a signature. When somebody
I don't think anybody can imitate DMX. He's not, and nobody can in this industry can imitate DMX or steal his style.
Yeah, exactly. A lot of rappers are measured by how many styles did you father. How many styles did your father? And I remember very early on days with, was it DMX used to have beef with another rapper called K Solo when they first came out, because I think they spent time in the juvenile correctional facility. And K Solo had this flow where he could literally rap about the alphabet, Letterman style, make words and rhymes out of the alphabet. And because they spent time together, when K Solo DMX had this issue, when K Solo thought were accused DMX of stealing some of his style. But that delivery, no. That delivery is unique. And we just want to say...
Let me tell you about, in terms of, I'm obviously from different generations, in it. So it's like the music right now that is popping right now, you wouldn't know. You know what I'm saying? And obviously for me, I have it also, and I just want to tell you in a sense, in terms of how DMX really impacted the hip hop industry in terms of obviously like the rapping patterns and etc. like that. So right now in New York, there is a drill scene, right? Called the drill scene, and it consists of having a UK beat, a UK drill beat. And there is ad libs. The ad libs are the thing, bow, bow, I, all these things. When you really look in terms of the root of it, is DMX. DMX was the first person to have ad libs. Yeah.
Okay. From you're youngin', so I'm not going to correct you on that one. But ad libs are in hip hop. But yeah, you're right.
No,
in terms of doing it. Doing it that style, yeah, I get you. You're right. To doing that style, you can always trace it back, and because when it comes to creativity, nobody owns the right to creativity. But one of the things that we do measure in terms of influence as rappers, so exactly what you're doing is since this artist have come out, how many styles have they birthed? And that's what you're saying, which I'm agreeing. That style of ad-libbing is a style that you've birthed. Like say, like you've talked about Cool G rap, then you say Nas. You say Cool G rap, you say Rakim, you still say Nas. You see what I mean? You can, but Nas also birthed his own style. Out of that is influence, because we are like a sponge when it comes to creativity. We draw upon influences all around us. But there's one thing that, as you were saying, that is undisputed, was he's an archetype artist. It's archetypal, meaning before him and after him, he set the bar in terms of that delivery, and he's got so many credits to his name. He's starred in one of my best films of all time that I love watching, which is Belly. I love that film. I can watch it anytime. Sit back, kick back, popcorn, JD and Coke, and I'm good. So yeah, for my lifestyle, I wouldn't have this frame. DMX is on my playlist, like I was saying right at the beginning. I'll always play. I cannot do one workout without one DMX song.
What? Hey, Unc, let me tell you something. DMX, every time when I shave my head bald and shiny, I have to play DMX How's It Going. I have to do it. I have to be in the mirror. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I have to do it.
Yeah.
It's like now it's the I even put a tweet on. It will never be the same again. The feeling is, because I know now, the legend has passed. It's like it's not gonna be the same feeling again. But I just want to add as well, please guys, whoever has in your family that has drug addiction and etc. like that, remind them of the blessings that they have. Remind them of the impact that they have, on the impact that they have on your life. Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, I feel like DMX knew that, do you understand? But he was a man that didn't know, the presence that he carried, man, and the aura that he really carried in the hip hop scene. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Do you know what? You're right. And I would say this: addictions are deep, and I completely agree with you when it talks about supporting other people. Support people unconditionally, and do not support people with conditions that they behave in a way that you would behave. You think you would behave if you had the addiction. This is the problem, because this sets up an expectation that, okay, you got addiction, right? Thank you for telling me, but I still expect you to behave in a normal way. With addictions, you can understand what's happening on a biological level. Yeah? You're no longer thinking in a corpus mentis way. Drugs have taken over your neurotransmitters. Drugs are saying to you, you need this to survive. The body says it needs it. It needs it. So that's a different situation to say the body just wants something. When your body is telling you it needs it. I've seen it. I've seen this when I've supported young people who grew up as babies with addictions because their parents were high on drugs. So they were born as babies addicted to drugs. When the body says it needs something, you're no longer in the rational frame of thinking. This is how bad drugs are on people, yeah? So it's about being able to support each other unconditionally If it means you have this person's going to spend time in prison, that is what you still need to support them through the process. If they end up becoming thieves, people break into houses for addictions. You know, they'll do the most heinous crimes, some of them, because of their addictions. I've seen people addicted to alcohol that have been so suicidal that they needed to be restrained, like on and off for like days, on and off restraining, because if you let them go, because the body needs the alcohol, they'll either want to kill themselves or hurt somebody else. Because these addictions are real. They're nothing to be played with. So if you know that you have this inclination to be addicted to something, you should try to limit your exposure to things that could potentially make you an addict. You know, dip in, dip out. But also, go on, Jinka. So I'm talking too much on that one.
No, it's cool. It's just, you know, you brought up, you know, like I had an addiction. I mean, it's not cocaine or whatnot. It was weed. You know, I was addicted for weed for 2 years, 3 years tops, and it ruined my life, man. It ruined my life. It ruined my relationship with my friends. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, you know, it made me do things that I never thought I would do. Like, you know, for you to feed your addiction, you know what I'm saying, you need to ask money, and you know, people are on addiction. They are very creative. They are very creative liars. Do you get what I'm saying? I would tell them about the craziest thing. Listen, my grandma is in hospital. I need this. Literally. Do you get what I'm saying? Or I need electric right now, please. Like, do you get what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, but what I've learned is, you know, me overcoming addiction and stuff there. But I wouldn't say right now, like, you know, I don't get the urge to do it. Is the thing that keeps me going is understanding as to why I stopped it. What the pain, you know what I'm saying, and the hurt, you know what I'm saying, and just the troubles that it brought me. Do you understand? So it's like, you know, people with addiction should just, you know, just encourage your people with addiction in terms of, like, you know, seeing the milk and honey. You know what I'm saying? On the other side, it's all about seeing the milk and honey on the other side. You know what I'm saying? And it's a hard process, and you need, like I said, you do need, you know, a structure of friends and support.
Absolutely.
There, you know what I'm saying? If you're trying to go sway left, you know what I'm saying, they won't have no problem throwing hands with you, because they love you so much that they don't want to go. They don't want to go in that road. So
absolutely. Absolutely. The love that's unconditional, that's what people need, because it's a long process, you know, and some of these issues that make people susceptible to drug addictions go over and beyond the hip hop music. You know, they're major issues in terms of society, you know, poverty. All of these things come into effect when we're talking about addiction. So we must always remain encouraging, hopeful that they'll be able to pull themselves through. And there's nothing wrong in once in a while checking in on each other. Don't just check in on each other just because you've had a breakdown. Just check in, a phone call. You know, these things can serve as distraction techniques to help somebody get through. And that might be enough for them to see another day. And another day brings about another challenge. So this is, I think, going to back Jingo's point, if you know, as a coping strategy, you have to be on stage. Sometimes you can't be on stage. You need to have a toolkit of coping strategies to help you through addiction. So you have something you could do no matter where you are, from your positive affirmations to keep you going, to a friendly clique of people that generally think about you in a way that's not trying to fleece you for your money. You need to have hope that you can pull yourself through. You need to even have stories from people that have gone through what you've gone through and made it the other side. It's hard when you don't. It's really hard when you don't have anybody that has come through the other side and made it.
I mean, it's all about relations. Like, some people, you know what I'm saying, you want somebody that knows your pain and that you know that went through it. And that was my thing when I went through my addiction. Is like people that telling me like, yo man, just leave Crow in it. Like, what do you know, bro? Are you there when I'm having these cold sweats? Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, are you there when I'm going through my depression and what, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is what I feed myself to, you know what I'm saying, to numb the depression, to do this. And you know, just to tell the viewers right now, I was suicidal, and I feel like I mean I attempted suicide. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like, and I feel and right now looking back at it, it was the drugs that really amped it up. Do you get what I'm gonna say? It's, you know what I'm saying, and you know,
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not easy, and we've discussed that in detail before. And that show we did was super powerful. So I expect you for you to be comfortable to talk about that. And because again, you want to get yourself in a situation, no matter what you've experienced, you're able to talk about it. Some of these hurts, when you're really going through it, you can't even talk about it because you're not there yet. You're not at the stage where you can articulate it. And you know, sometimes surfacing these feelings when the support is gone, where do the feelings go? You know, that's why therapy can help you so far, because you have a good therapy session with your therapist. They expose all of these dormant emotions. They take you back to the past emotionally, and then you feel good, you feel safe, and then the session's finished. Then you're on the bus going home. Then you're by yourself. You don't have a way to put those feelings back into that safe place that you're dealing with. They're now exposed. That's why a lot of people that go through therapy, immediately after, they're at a higher risk if they don't have that support around them, if they don't have that debriefing situation where they can get themselves back to normal and reframe the day. Because these things are not easy at all. But on my closing remark is for everybody: support each other, love each other. DMX, you know, you're a legend, and your music lives on as all the other legends that have gone before you. They live on. They're not hidden. You know, in fact, you're gonna be playing your stuff more now than it's been played ever before. So for that note,
okay, guys, everybody ready?
Atomic mic drop.
Sure.
There you go. Bit delayed, but you're a legend. You're a legend.
Top 5 dead or alive. Top 5 dead or alive of all time. DMX.
And Jingo, pick up your channel quickly before we bounce.
Yeah. So guys, I have a podcast called the Best Kept Secret Podcast. You can find it on YouTube, and
ladies and gentlemen,
check it out.
Jingles.
Yes, jingles. We'll get back to the jingles for the Mic Drop Club soon. Anyway,
most definitely.
With the best kept secret, you know what I'm saying? Find me on Apple Podcast, find me on Podbeam and iHeartRadio. You know what I'm saying? iHeartRadio also have a podcast, section. You know what I'm saying? So if you listen to iHeartRadio, support a brother there. Spotify has problems right now, but obviously I'm amend that. But yeah. But you can find me on YouTube and etc. like that, guys. I talk about social issues, faith-based. I have a segment called Real Life Stories. You know what I'm saying? Like right now, people that overcame over drug addiction, but people that overcame traumatic experiences, just giving that platform just to, impact the world, man. Because I feel like, when a person hears your story, or anybody that hears a story, their life can just change in a drop of the moment. You can give them that hope. So yeah, guys, Best Kept Secret Podcast. Follow me.
R.I.P.
On
DMX.
Instagram, Best Kept Secret. On Facebook, Best Kept Secret. And R.I.P. DMX. Top 5 dead or alive rappers of all time. Thank you for your work, bro.
Amen to that. We out.